The FWBO has a new magazine. Its editor is Vishwapani.
Windhorse Publications asked me if I would take over editing Golden Drum, and I thought long and hard about that and thought, well, no, actually I don't want to edit Golden Drum, but I thought that there is the potential, there's a space for another magazine which is a lot bigger and has a broader kind of remit. So eventually those ideas coalesced into Dharma Life. I think the design of Dharma Life is one of the strongest elements of it, without any doubt.
Well, the way the mechanics of it work, Vishwapani collects all the material, does an initial edit, and then emails all the stuff to my Macintosh. I'm fascinated by the technology of it, so I download all the material. I start to fit it onto pages, and then it's a real luxury. It wasn't at all this with Golden Drum, but if I think a page would look nicer if it was a couple of paragraphs shorter, Annie cuts a couple of paragraphs for me, and we get it just the way it could be.
I very much want Dharma Life to be something which is has a very broad readership of people who are maybe interested in Buddhism in quite a general sort of way, or interested in spiritual issues and want to hear what Buddhists have got to say about them. And particularly, I'm very interested in having a magazine which speaks to Buddhists who aren't within the FWBO, but that they actually feel is their magazine. They don't feel it's the FWBO telling them what Buddhism's all about.
Without being too grandiose about it, I think in the same way that the FWBO is having to start to create a language, it's not simply the language of Western secular culture, nor is it simply the language of traditional Buddhism. I think in the same way your design can't simply be, sort of well, we don't do it in palm leaves for starters, but I think it can't be just the sort of fashionable devices of 1996 graphic design and what a Macintosh can do. I think you have to be aware of that, but you have to start to find ways of giving something form that in a sense hasn't maybe really quite taken shape yet. I think it's still something being created. One of the things that you've got in a lot of late 20th century graphic design is an awareness of a whole range of historical references that you can bring together, that you can use quite deliberately. And actually that intelligent awareness of what your culture's doing, of the sort of flexibility and the openness of possibilities of what the culture can do, I think is very pertinent to what the FWBO is doing in this culture. And I think that kind of cultural complexity and historical awareness does affect what we do. I can't believe I just said all that.
One of the things I've learned in editing a magazine is there's a whole art of how magazines are put together. So you need the kind of little jokey bits at the front that you can read when you're sitting on the loo, and you need some really serious articles, and then you need some things which are more human interest, and a whole variety of things.
Okay, so it's an article about the United Kingdom blasphemy laws being challenged at the European Court of Human Rights. So you've got an obvious wee joke, right, in that it's an article about blasphemy, so it's set in the shape of a cross. Uses a nice little picture, a woodcut by Eric Gill called The Nuptials of God. The other thing that I like about this, partly just to get the shape of the text and the cross, paragraph returns would break up that nice clean form. So the way I got around that was by breaking up paragraphs by using the paragraph mark Now, the place that I'm most familiar with the use of the paragraph mark is the King James Bible that I had in Sunday school. So by using the paragraph mark in the middle of a piece of text, you get both the advantage that you get a lovely unbroken cross shape, and also you make a nice little textual reference to the King James Bible and the traditional typographic conventions used in the Bible, and you get a nice wee jog.
We've been negotiating with a distributor called Central Books who want to take it. So hopefully as of the 4th issue, which will be March 97, it'll be available through their list in bookshops across the UK. How we really get to grips with distributing it in other countries like Australia and the US, I don't know. But I'm sure there is a market out there for Dharma Life. So the future is actually looking quite bright for Dharma Life.